So today, we're diving into this really powerful technique for taking control of your emotions, and it comes from the work of Adam Koo and Stuart Tan. We're going to learn how to think about your feelings not as something that just happens to you, but as something you can actually manage, kind of like keys on a keyboard.
You know that feeling, right? One minute, everything's fine, and the next, bam, you're suddenly stressed out or totally unmotivated or just plain nervous, and you're not even sure why. It's like your own mind just gets taken over by some unhelpful emotional program. And these triggers, they are everywhere. Just the sight of an overflowing inbox can make you want to just walk away, or that sound of the alarm clock in the morning. Instant dread. Walking into an exam hall can make your stomach do flips. The thing is, we don't choose these reactions. They're just automatic programs running in the background of our minds. But what if you could change that programming? What if you could call up confidence or motivation or a sense of calm just as easily as you can type a letter on a keyboard? Well, that's the big idea we're digging into today. The technique to do this is called anchoring. All it really is creating a neurological link. Think of it like a shortcut in your brain that connects a specific feeling to a specific trigger. So when you activate the trigger, you automatically get the feeling. No effort needed. I love how the source material puts it so simply. The anchor is a key you press, and the state is the letter that appears on the screen. Press the key, and bam, the feeling shows up instantly. And listen, this isn't some new age, fluffy concept. It's got its roots in real science. You've probably heard of Pavlov and his dogs, right? He rang a bell every single time he fed them, and pretty soon their brains made a connection. Just hearing the bell was enough to make them start salivating, even when there was no food around. That bell became an anchor for the feeling of hunger. Okay, so we all have these anchors, for better or for worse. But how are they actually wired into us? Well, they tend to come in three main types, and they're all based on our senses. First up are the visual anchors. Pretty straightforward. These are the triggers connected to something you see with your own two eyes. And you can see how this works for both good and bad, right? Seeing the face of someone you love can instantly lift your spirits. That's a positive visual anchor. But on the flip side, seeing that overflowing inbox, yeah, that can trigger a feeling of I'll deal with that later. It's the exact same mechanism, just with totally different results. All right, next up we have auditory anchors. These are all linked to what we hear, things like music, specific sounds, or even the tone of someone's voice. You know, music is probably one of the most powerful auditory anchors there is. You hear the theme from Rocky, and you instantly feel pumped up and motivated. But then you hear a whiny, complaining voice, and yeah, instant annoyance. And finally, we have kinesthetic anchors. These are all about touch, feeling, and physical movement.
Top athletes are absolute masters of this. When you see Tiger Woods pump his fist or Michael Jordan stick his tongue out, they're not just celebrating. Nope, they are firing a physical anchor to get into their peak performance state. But it can be as simple as a hug that makes you feel safe and loved, or even putting on a specific power suit that just makes you feel way more confident.
Okay, so now we know what anchors are. So let's get to the fun part. How to take control and actually install our own. Think of this next bit as the user manual for your very own emotional keyboard. So here's the 4-step process. First, get intense. You have to go back in your mind and relive a powerful memory of that emotion until you feel it at a 10 out of 10. Second, right as that feeling hits its absolute peak, apply your anchor. Maybe it's squeezing your thumb and forefinger together, something unique. Step 3, break the state. Just think of something totally random, like what you had for breakfast, to go back to neutral. Then you repeat that process, maybe 5 to 10 times. And finally, test it. From a totally neutral state, fire your anchor. If that powerful emotion comes flooding back, congratulations, you've done it. This is so incredibly useful. Imagine firing an anchor for pure confidence right before a big job interview. Okay, that's a fair question. What if you go through all the steps, you test it, and you get nothing? Does that mean it's all bogus? No way. It just usually means one of 4 key ingredients was missing. And here they are: intensity, timing, uniqueness, and replication. First, the emotion has to be intense. A mild, wishy-washy feeling just won't stick. The timing has to be perfect. You apply the anchor right as the feeling is peaking. The anchor itself has to be unique. Don't use something common like scratching your nose because you do that all the time. And finally, replication. You have to do it the exact same way every single time. same pressure, same spot. You get these 4 things right, and your anchor will be rock solid. Now, once you get the hang of installing these positive anchors, you can move on to the really advanced stuff, using them to systematically overwrite the negative ones that are holding you back. This technique is called collapsing anchors. So let's say you get super nervous every time you have to speak in public. What you can do is create one super powerful positive anchor by stacking a bunch of good feelings like confidence and calm and focus all onto a single trigger. Then the next time you step on that stage and the nerves start to kick in, you fire your new positive anchor. The stronger positive state will literally overwhelm and collapse the weaker negative one. It just gets overwritten.
And you can take this idea even further. The source material makes this incredible point that a phobia, that intense, seemingly uncontrollable fear, is really just a very, very strong negative anchor. And if you understand that, you can understand how it's possible to neutralize even fears you've had your whole life.
So if you take just one thing away from this whole explainer, please let it be this. Your emotional responses are not set in stone. You do not have to be a passenger who gets hijacked by whatever feeling decides to show up. With these tools, you can actually sit down at the keyboard and become the programmer of your own mind.
And that brings us to the end. So I'll just leave you with this one question to get you started. Think about it. Whether it's unstoppable confidence for your next big project, or pure motivation to get to the gym, or just a deep sense of calm in a stressful situation, what's the very first positive state you're going to program onto your emotional keyboard?